Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the NFL currently. Yes, he is better than Patrick Mahomes. Welcome in, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me today. Hope that you guys are doing really well and hope you had a happy NFL wild card round weekend. So, we got a lot of good stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about all six of the NFL wild card round weekend games. We're going to talk about which teams stood out, which players stood out. We had some upsets, we had some crazy comebacks. So we got a lot of good stuff to talk about for sure. So, just some particular games we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the Los Angeles Rams and Matthew Stafford making a big comeback and getting a win over the Panthers. We're going to talk about the Chicago Bears also coming back and getting a big win over the Green Bay Packers. And on Sunday, we had three different games. Josh Allen put on his Superman cape and was able to conquer the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. Brock Purdy gets an impressive win over the Eagles, and Drake May and the Patriots keep rolling on. And we're also going to talk about the big Monday Night Football matchup between Pittsburgh Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, and the Houston Texans and CJ Stroud. So it was an amazing NFL wild card round weekend. So a lot of amazing stuff to talk about. And in the second half of the show, we're going to take a look at the matchups in the next round, in the divisional round, and we're going to make some predictions. So, cannot wait for that. Very excited to make some predictions in the next round and see who's going to win. Before we jump into all of that, I would like to mention that on my YouTube channel, I create content about money, sports, and personal topics with the goal of bringing value to other people's lives. So if you guys find value in this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I can continue making these videos. All right, let's go ahead and jump into NFL wild card round. All right, guys. So the first game was the matchup between the Los Angeles Rams and the Carolina Panthers. This was in Charlotte, North Carolina. So home game for the Panthers. Um, this was a matchup between Matt Stafford and Bryce Young. And the Rams were heavy favorites in this one by over 10 points. But as we can see, it ended up being a lot closer. And the Rams squeeze out the win 34-31. They move on to the next round, and the Panthers are out of the playoffs. So big win by Matthew Stafford and the Rams. They get a comeback win and move on. Let's go ahead and check out the game leaders in this one. All right, so for the Rams, Matt Stafford, he went 24 for 42, 304 yards, three touchdowns, one interception. So a very good game by Matt Stafford. MVP type of performance. He should win the MVP this season over Drake May. It's going to be close, but it should be Stafford. Puka Nakua had 111 yards receiving with a touchdown. So he was big in this game. For the Panthers, Bryce Young, 21 for 40, 264 yards, one touchdown, one interception. So just an average game by Bryce Young. And their wide receiver, Coker, had 134 yards receiving with one touchdown. All right, so heading into this game, it wasn't the most exciting game or most anticipated game, just because the Panthers are not a very exciting team. They have a losing record, so a lot of people just feel that they shouldn't even be in the playoffs. But the game actually turned out to be very exciting. It was a very good first game of wild card round weekend. Um, it was pretty much close the whole game. The Panthers were winning towards the end of the game, but at the very end, Matt Stafford he drives his team down the field, um, gets a very nice touchdown pass to his tight end, and the Rams were able to take the lead at the very end and hold off the Carolina Panthers. So a lot closer than what I expected or a lot of other people expected. However, I did predict the Rams to win this game last week. So I just thought the Rams were a lot better than the Panthers. Um, Matt Stafford versus Bryce Young, just a very big difference there in quarterback quality. So the result was as I expected, but the Panthers definitely made it a lot closer, and they almost knocked off the Rams in this one. All right. So the next game we're going to talk about is the big matchup that was on Amazon Prime on Saturday night. Two bitter rivals going head to head. Green Bay Packers going against Chicago Bears in Chicago, Soldier Field. Jordan Love of the Packers versus Caleb Williams of the Bears. So this was definitely one of the most exciting games of the weekend. A lot of storylines in this one. Freezing weather in Chicago, and just the good old Packers and Bears rivalry. So huge, huge game in this one. It looked like the Packers were going to win the game. They led most of the game, but in the fourth quarter, the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams, they just explode. They come back and get the big win 31 to 27 over the Packers. The Bears move on and the Packers are out of the playoffs. So just a lot of drama in this one. So let's go ahead and check out the game leaders in this one. For the Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love, he went 24 for 46, 323 yards, four touchdowns, zero interceptions. So a really, really good game by Jordan Love in this one. And looks like Romeo Dobbs had a really good game, 124 yards receiving with one touchdown. We'll jump over to the Bears. Caleb Williams, 24 for 48, 361 yards, two touchdowns, two interceptions. So Caleb was kind of 50-50. His completion percentage was 50%, which is not good. He had the two interceptions, which obviously is not good, but he had the two touchdowns and over 350 yards passing. So that's just kind of what you get with Caleb Williams at this point. You get some amazing, amazing play, but then you also get some negative play as well. So you get both sides with him and his tight end. Loveland had a huge game, eight receptions, 137 yards. So big, big game in this one by the Bears. All right, so in this one, from what I remember, the Packers were a slight favorite in this one, but last week as well, I predicted that the Bears would win this game. Um, just with the Packers, the big Micah Parsons loss earlier in the season, is a huge effect on their defense. Um, the Bears, Caleb Williams, and their head coach, Ben Johnson, they've just been hitting on all cylinders the second half of the season. This game was in Chicago, so I was just kind of leaning towards Chicago in this one. Um, and somehow the Bears were able to pull out the win. Caleb Williams, like I mentioned earlier, he has some amazing plays. He had some bad plays, but in the most important moments, he shows up, and he got a big win in this one. Um, Disappointing season and loss for the Packers. I think when they traded for Micah Parsons, they had expectations of going deep in the playoffs, but obviously things changed with that injury. And now their head coach, Matt LaFleur, it's uncertain if he's going to be back with the Packers or not. So just a lot of noise around the Packers, and we'll see what happens with their head coach. But definitely a disappointing loss and disappointing season. And we'll see if they come back better next season with Micah Parsons. But the Chicago Bears move on, and their amazing season continues. So the game that I was definitely most excited about watching was the matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the Jacksonville Jaguars. So this was Josh Allen versus Trevor Lawrence, two very exciting quarterbacks with big arms, two quarterbacks who are mobile. So very exciting matchup in this one. Two very exciting offenses, and a lot of people are saying that whoever won this game is going to end up being in the Super Bowl on the AFC side. So just a lot of intrigue and excitement in this game, and it came down to the wire. And Josh Allen put on his Superman cape in the fourth quarter and was able to get a big win for his team, 27-24. The Bills move on. The Jags, their amazing season comes to an end, and another disappointing loss in the playoffs for them. Well, let's go ahead and check out the game leaders in this one. For the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, he went 28 for 35, 273 yards, one touchdown, zero interceptions. So he had a couple of rushing touchdowns as well. So just a really amazing game by Josh Allen. I definitely think he's the best quarterback in the NFL, better than Patrick Mahomes. James Cook, 46 yards rushing, and Shakir, 82 yards receiving. On the Jags side, Trevor Lawrence, he went 18 for 30, 207 yards, three touchdowns, two interceptions. So Trevor was so in this game. He had some very good moments. Obviously, three touchdowns is amazing, but he did have those two interceptions. So he was a little shaky in this game. Um, that's kind of what I was thinking was going to happen. Um, Trevor Lawrence is prone to turnovers and interceptions. So even though he's played amazing this season, I was worried that those old habits would show up again. And that's why I had picked the Buffalo Bills to win this game. And that's kind of what came to fruition. But he still played pretty well. Travis Etienne had 67 yards rushing. Parker Washington, 107 yards receiving with one touchdown. So just an amazing game to watch. Love to watch these two quarterbacks. I think they're two of my favorite quarterbacks to watch. They throw the ball all over the field, down the field. They run when they need to. So just very exciting quarterback play in this one. Um, I did pick the Buffalo Bills to win this game. I just think they're. I think Josh Allen is just on a different level than Trevor Lawrence, and I was worried that Trevor Lawrence would have some turnovers, which exactly is what happened. And I think Jacksonville was one of those teams that has a really amazing regular season, but then is one and out in the playoffs. And that's kind of what happened in this one. But Josh Allen, just amazing play in this game. I definitely think, again, he's the best quarterback in the NFL. Um, I would take him over Patrick Mahomes just because Josh Allen throws the ball more down the field. He runs more than Patrick Mahomes, and his play is just more exciting, in my opinion, and leads. He has a bigger impact on his team than I think Patrick Mahomes does. So very, very impressed by Josh Allen in this one. I think the Bills might be headed towards a Super Bowl, but we'll see. On the Jacksonville side, I mean, amazing regular season. They have so many different weapons. They're so exciting to watch, but they're out of the playoffs, one and done. I'm sure they wanted to go deeper, but they just ran into a better team in this one, and they got, you know, unlucky with the matchup that they received. And now Josh Allen with Mahomes, Burrow, and Lamar Jackson not in the playoffs. Josh Allen has a very good path to the Super Bowl. I think they're going to do it, but we shall see. All right, so the next game we're going to talk about is the matchup between the San Francisco 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles. So this was Brock Purdy versus Jalen Hurts, two very good NFC teams. Um, I personally wasn't too excited to watch this game just because these two quarterbacks are not that exciting, in my opinion, but nevertheless, it was still a playoff game and it was a good game. And the 49ers, they lose George Kittle to an Achilles in this game, but they were able to still win 23 to 19. They move on in the playoffs, and the Philadelphia Eagles are out, and they're not happy with this season for sure. So let's check out the game leaders in this one. For the 49ers, Brock Purdy, he went 18 for 31, 262 yards, two touchdowns, two interceptions. So a solid game by Purdy in this one. You get you get it all with Brock Purdy. You get some amazing plays, but you get the interceptions as well. That's just how he plays. Christian McCaffrey, 48 yards rushing, and Robinson, 111 yards receiving with one touchdown. On the Eagles side, Jalen Hurts, 20 for 35, 168 yards, one touchdown, zero interceptions. Saquon Barkley, 106 yards receiving or rushing. And Devontae Smith, 70 yards receiving. All right. So this game, what else can I say about it? Um, in this one, I had picked the Eagles to win this game. I just thought their Super Bowl pedigree from last year would show up. Um, their defense, I felt like, is better than the defense for the 49ers. But the Eagles, they've just struggled on offense the whole season. Um, Jalen Hurts, less than 200 yards passing. The wide receivers didn't show up. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. Um, Saquon Barkley had an okay game, but the Eagles' offense has just struggled the whole season. Um, I thought maybe they could turn it on in the playoffs, but that wasn't the case. I definitely thought they would beat the 49ers. The 49ers have had all kinds of injuries this season, um, with Bosa, Fred Warner, George Kittle got injured in this game. But the 49ers, their head coach, Kyle Shanahan, is just amazing. Robert Sala, defensive coordinator, they just definitely outcoached Nick Sirianni and the Eagles in this one. And I think the Eagles are very disappointed. I think AJ Brown is probably not going to be on the team next season. I think they need to do something with their offensive coordinator. They need a facelift on their offense for sure. Jalen Hurts, I don't know. He's just kind of a game manager, in my opinion. Um, so just a very disappointing end to the Eagles season. I was definitely expecting more from the defending Super Bowl champs. All right, guys. So we had a pretty amazing matchup on Sunday night between the Los Angeles Chargers and the New England Patriots. So this was a matchup between Justin Herbert and Drake May. This game was in New England in Foxborough. So the Patriots had that home field advantage, and they definitely took advantage of that. They get a 16-3 win over the Chargers. Justin Herbert and the Chargers were only able to score 3 points, which is unacceptable. But Drake May and the Patriots, they move on, and their season continues. Let's check out the game leaders to see how they played. So for the Los Angeles Chargers, Justin Herbert, he went 19 for 31, 159 yards, zero touchdowns, zero interceptions. And he also had 57 yards rushing. On the other side, for the Patriots, Drake May, 17 for 29, 268 yards, one touchdown, one interception. He also had 66 yards rushing. And then their running back, Stevenson, had 75 yards receiving. All right, so this wasn't the most exciting game just because the Chargers' offense and Justin Herbert struggled a lot. His wide receivers just couldn't get open, and they just underperformed significantly in this game. Drake May and the Patriots, he had a solid game, nothing too amazing, nothing too bad. He just did enough to get the job done. Um, I predicted that the Patriots would win this game just because I've seen Justin Herbert struggle a lot in the playoffs, and it seems like he's always under duress. He's always taking big hits. And I just felt like the Patriots as a whole, as a team, on all three levels offense, defense, and special teams have been a lot better than the Chargers all season. They've had a better record during the regular season. The game was in Foxborough in New England. So, just all those different factors, I felt like the Patriots had a higher chance of winning the game. And that's how things played out in this one. Definitely surprised that the Chargers only scored 3 points. I thought it was going to be a lot more competitive, but it is what it is. Drake May has had an amazing season. He's going to probably be the in second place for MVP this season behind Matt Stafford, but the Patriots definitely have a very bright future with Drake May as their quarterback, with Mike Vrabel as their head coach. So we'll see if the Patriots make some more noise next weekend. All right, guys. So the last game that we're going to talk about from NFL Wild Card Round weekend is the big matchup tonight on Monday night. We have the Houston Texans going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. This game is in Pittsburgh. It's going to be CJ Stroud versus Aaron Rodgers. I'm a huge Aaron Rodgers fan, and as a result, a Steelers fan this season. So I'm so excited about this game. The Steelers somehow were able to get into the playoffs, and it's like a totally new season. So anybody can win these games on any given day. So definitely going to be rooting for the Steelers tonight. They get DK Metcalf back from his 2 game suspension that he served in the last 2 games of the regular season. Aaron Rodgers has 2 excellent running backs, Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell. He's got tight end Fryermuth. So I feel like he has enough weapons where he can lead the Steelers to a win. Um, the Houston Texans have a really good defense with Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson. They're going to be chasing Aaron Rodgers and trying to pressure him all game long. Hopefully, the Steelers' offensive line can keep them under control. And in this one, the Texans are a favorite to win the game, but not by much. But I'm definitely going to pick the Steelers in this one. I think Aaron Rodgers' experience and his intelligence will be the deciding factor in this game. It's going to be tough, but I think the Steelers can get it done over the Texans. All right, guys, we finally get to the best part of the show. We're going to look forward to the matchups next weekend, the divisional round games, and make some predictions. So we still are waiting for the results from tonight's game between the Steelers and Texans, but nevertheless, we're going to go ahead and still make the predictions for next week. All right, so next week, we're going to do the top left here. We're going to have a matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the Denver Broncos. So it's going to be Josh Allen versus Bo Nix. This game is going to be in Denver with the altitude. So this is going to be a really good game. Denver coming off a bye week. Buffalo will be coming off a big win over the Jaguars. So in this one, I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen to beat the Denver Broncos and Bo Nix. I think Josh Allen is way better than Bo Nix. I think that Buffalo, I feel like it's just their time now um, to win. Josh Allen, he doesn't have to deal with Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, or Joe Burrow. So I just think that it's the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen's moment now. I know the Denver Broncos are going to be really tough, so I wouldn't be surprised if Denver wins. They are the number 1 seed, but I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills to beat the Denver Broncos and for the Buffalo Bills to get to the AFC Championship game. All right, let's do the bottom left now, the other AFC matchup. So it's going to be the New England Patriots and Drake May versus either the Houston Texans and CJ Stroud, or Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. So in this one, if the Steelers win tonight, then it would be Patriots versus Steelers next week. And in that case, I would go with the Pittsburgh Steelers and Aaron Rodgers to beat Drake May. I think Aaron Rodgers is just his mind and his intelligence is going to be would be the deciding factor in that game. If the Houston Texans win, then in that case, I think I would still go with the Houston Texans to beat the New England Patriots. I think CJ Stroud would play well, and Houston has a really good defense. So I think either way, I think the Patriots will lose next week, whether it be the Steelers or the Texans that end up facing them. All right, let's jump over to the NFC side and take a look at the matchups there. So on the top right here, it's going to be the Chicago Bears versus the Los Angeles Rams. So this is going to be a tough game as well. Caleb Williams versus Matthew Stafford. So do think that Matthew Stafford is better than Caleb Williams. I think the Rams are a better team as a whole versus compared to the Bears. It's going to be tough. I can see either of these teams winning, but I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Rams and Matthew Stafford to beat the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams. I think the Rams have too much offensive firepower with Puka Nakua, Devontae Adams, Matt Stafford, and I think the Bears season comes to an end. The other NFC matchup on the bottom right here, San Francisco 49ers versus Seattle Seahawks, Brock Purdy versus Sam Darnold. So in this one, I think I feel pretty confident that the Seattle Seahawks will win this game. They're coming off a bye week. They're all rested. San Francisco 49ers, they just played a tough game. They just lost George Kittle for the season with a torn Achilles. Um, and again, they've had a lot of injuries already this season. So I just think the Seattle Seahawks are a superior team. They've had a lot better season than the 49ers have. They're well rested. So this is in Seattle. So I would be shocked if the 49ers win. So I'm definitely going to go with the Seattle Seahawks and Sam Darnold to get a win over the San Francisco 49ers and Brock Purdy. And based on my predictions, I think in the AFC Championship game, I think it's going to be the Buffalo Bills versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Those are the two teams I expect and predict to move on to the AFC Championship game. And in the NFC Championship game, I believe and predict that the Rams will play the Seattle Seahawks, and we shall see. So can't wait until next weekend to watch the games. Gonna watch all of them for sure. So that's all I wanted to share as far as NFL wild card round. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video and got some value out of the content. If you did, again, subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit that like button, make some comments on what you thought of the wild card round weekend and your predictions for the next round. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care.